This is Fox Sports Super Saturday, edition 6, the second and final game of this instalment. And it is the Rabbitohs running left to right on your screen for the opening 40. Brent Kite taking the ball straight from the fullback's hands and making some good metres on tackle number 1, getting towards the 20-metre line as they push it just one wide of the ruck. Good level of enthusiasm from the Rabbitohs, a 3-man tackle involving Fa'alogo and also Luke. As Josh Perry just crabs across field a little bit. He was an easy target there. Luke Stewart, Bow champion, and also the little halfback involved in the tackle there. But the metres have been good ones from Manly. Tackle number 4 on the 40-metre line as Ballon from the Kingaroy Red Ants puts it downfield and straight into the capable hands of Luke Capewell. Now, there was an opportunity there, Laurie, because the right winger for South Sydney, Nathan Merritt, had not gone back earlier in the count, so there was a lot of space on the field. I'm sure that Manly will keep an eye out on that as the game unfolds. But in their first set, they were just looking to play field position, get down the other end of the field. How much of it is about just stability for Manly, getting through the first 20 minutes without any damage? Well, I think they've still got to work hard on their game, but they can't be negative about their football. They were very good last weekend at times, but that's something they need to build on. It's a good reference point to go back to. That was the beginning of their season last week. Sando finds some ground in between Stewart and also Michael Robertson, and a nervous wait for Brett Stewart, who let it bounce, hoping it would go dead in goal. It didn't, and in the end, did quite a job getting it into the field of play. The acceleration of Brett Stewart. He was able to get that ball back in the field of play. Not many other fullbacks would have been able to do that. Look at South Sydney muscling up here. Glenn Hall, some second phase footy, and they are good metres from Glenn Hall. South's line condensed. Very much defensively, they have crowded or stacked that centre part of the field. Here's Ballon, out of dummy half. As we said, a good victory over the West Tigers. It certainly wasn't performance perfect for the Eagles last week in the 23-12 win. As Orford goes to the second option kicker in Chris Bailey. He goes to the sideline, and this is Talanoa. Good field position on the return for Fatuli Talanoa. On the Eagles side of the red line. Short side they go. Colin Best putting his hand up there as Isaac Luke again goes left-hand side. This is Shannon McPherson. And a drop ball identified in the ruck, mid-count, a costly error for South Sydney. And the error in pretty good field position, Laurie. Well, he looked as though he had control of the football, and then he goes to place it on the ground. He loses control. He's claiming that there was a boot in there from Glenn Stewart. All the way in. Doesn't matter anymore. We can't go upstairs for a video rep tip-off. And I'm happy about that. You win some, you lose some. But here come Manly. Steve Matai has been discussing with different experts and friends the possibility of wearing a neck brace similar to that worn by Brent Tate. And I don't know if it's a possibility anymore. It might be a probability, because when you have neck and shoulder issues as frequent as Steve Matai has and for such a long period, I guess it's a matter of time. Ballon. Good quick service from the number 9 to Matt Orford, who goes across field to link with one of his big men. It is Brent Kite. Look to get the right arm free and distribute the ball over the top of the defenders. Orford puts it on the boot. It's a race here, and a race that is won by Luke Capewell at the back. But some interesting stuff there, some expansive stuff, and some confident stuff from the Eagles. Yeah, confident start there by Matthew Orford, just placing it over the top. The outside back, Stewart was coming. Fatuli Talanoa was caught in field, but Luke Capewell does a fantastic job as the fullback for South Sydney, getting across there and diffusing the situation. Jamie Lyon and Michael Barney there were a bounce away. Isaac Luke pumps it downfield, didn't get all of it. Taken by Brett Stewart, 5 metres before the halfway line, and Brent Kite getting his numbers up early here. 3 damaging runs so far this evening. This is Glenn Hall. Part of what was undeniably the best back row in the competition last year. Orford inside to Perry, who winds up. South's been tested here. They are on their heels. They are on the line. Ballon to Orford. Further to Bailey. Stewart, quick hands, good hands to Lyon. Barney back to Bailey and on to Orford at second receiver. Puts the boot through. South Sydney patient with it and allowing it to go dead in goal.
It's great defence on the left side of the field there by South Sydney. Colin Best getting across there. Coming up with a good tackle on Jamie Lyon. And Matt Orford just looking to roll it through and get another repeat set. He leads the way in that area this season, Matty Orford, in his regards to getting back-to-back sets. He's playing more dropouts than any other team.
Yeah, despite the fact they are 1-5 coming into this one, or 1-4 should I say, there are some positive stats in otherwise beaten sides, and here come the Rabbitohs on the inside to Nathan Merritt. Good sleight of hand there from Bo Champion, the right centre, as Luke goes to Sando. Long, wide ball to Sutton, equally as long, equally as wide to wing. Now to Colin Best, one-on-one with Jamie Lyon. He did well with the Manly right centre. Back to Sutton, a big left footer across. Ball's gone forward, and a double knock-on will be ruled here. Luke Catewell. Not a big man by any stretch of the imagination. He wished the arms were a little bit longer.
Well, they've ruled that Robinson has knocked it forward, and he has, but it's a lovely kick there by John Sutton. It rebounded in the arms to Luke Catewell, but this is an area they have to get right. On Monday night, their kicking game was non-existent. They weren't able to apply pressure to the Bulldogs. And tonight, that kick started off in the right fashion. They also need to keep turning Manly around with their kicking game and ball movement.
Sutton wide to Best. To Talanoa, over the line and try. Or was it? Ball has been dislodged. It looked very simple.
Okay, yes. Well, he's not complaining about it, Talanoa. But South Sydney moving the football from the scrum. Colin Best going one-on-one with Jamie Lyon. That'll be a terrific battle tonight. Talanoa going across the line. Loses the football. He's on the spot, Jared Maxwell, to make the call. But dangerous times there for Manly. Both teams have had an opportunity attacking inside the 10-metre zone.
Kite played the ball. Orford, who really does like to get his hands on the footy each and every play. See some halves at times just step out of the line a little bit. I know Laurie used to do that with Ricky Stewart and the Green Machine back in the day, if you like. Different theories used by different sides. Matt Orford's one of those guys that just likes it pretty much each and every time. He puts a monster kick in. Bit of spiral on it too, and it was taken well by Capel at the back, who gets away from the first tackler, not so from Watmo. Merritt getting it wide to Best, then to Talanoa. Quick start to the game. 9 minutes in, no score. Doing the dirty work here is South Sydney, working it from their end of the field. Luke Stewart in game 150 for the club tonight. Now to Isaac Luke. Stepping before the line and looking to play a little before the line was Craig Wing, but his support wasn't there for him in the right spot as John Sutton pumps it onto the left boot and gets it down into the hands of Michael Robertson. The Brookvale Bagpipes represented Scotland at the World Cup.
He's a very good player, Michael Robinson. He scored 8 tries in 9 games here at ANZ Stadium. And he scored 3 tries in 3 matches against South Sydney here. So he certainly loves his venue and loves taking on the South Sydney Rabbitohs.
Heck, I think the whole club loves taking on the South Sydney Rabbitohs head-to-head of the last 25 between the Eagles and the Rabbitohs. Manly have won 20. Cable forced to make a play at the ball, and always a pretty good indication of confidence level of a footy side as you're chasing how effective it is from a kick. And that was excellent from the Eagles. And Capewell losing control of the football on tackle one.
They've lost control of the football early in the tackle count a couple of times tonight. And tackle one, Luke Capewell, just a lazy play the ball. See, there's things in the game that are non-negotiable. And playing the ball is one of them.
Bring it back, fellas.
You cannot give away possession from a play the ball. You need to get to your feet and play it properly.
That's why the completion rates look like that. The Rabbitohs 2 of 5. The Eagles top marks on the report card.
Well, that's 2 turnovers now from South, just with simple play the ball mistakes.
Orford taken well by Fa'alogo. He confused the defensive line there. This is Ballon. Off to Glenn Hall, who's getting dangerously close. Would have been his second for the year, denied this time round. How much more can South Sydney take, because it's on the right-hand side, and Jamie Lyon is the first to score. Well-constructed try from the Sea Eagles. They were patient with the football. The shift was on, and they got it out the back to their speed men very quickly.
Well, this is a side that they like to use their skill with. It's Glenn Stewart acting as a ball distributor. His brother, Brett, is humming around the back there. But on this occasion, he just finds Jamie Lyon. Lyon gets to the outside and is able to go over and score. The Rabbitohs playing a compressed line against Manly. They've got contrasting styles on either edge, Manly. On their right edge, it's all about skill and it's all about speed. On the left edge with Manai and Watmo, it's about power. They've got good footwork late at the line, but it's all give me the football, I'll go between people. On the right edge, it's more about little shifts of the football, little subtle skills to try and confuse the opposition.
And Brett Stewart was the obvious choice of the ball recipient there. If you're a defender looking at the Manly line and seeing Brett Stewart coming, you're going to be taking Brett Stewart. So nice variation, I guess, to a pet play, because often you see Orford, Glenn Stewart, Brett Stewart in that order. Jamie Lyon with a good one from the sideline. It is the Eagles 6, the Rabbitohs 0 as we go sideline to Stewart.
I'm sure that Manly identified South Sydney's left side defence during the week. Chris Sandow last week missed 11 tackles, and with Ben Lowe out, they're playing Craig Wing on that left, so they've got 2 small guys. That's what's happened there. They've had to tighten up, worrying about covering Chris Sandow, and the Manly Eagles have gone around them.
Almost 15 minutes gone. Allowed to bounce into the arms of Brett Stewart. An identical restart for the Eagles. From Stewart it went to Kite, and towards the 20-metre line he went. Now to Glenn Hall, and no surprises here if Josh Perry is the next up on this near side of the football field, because that's how it started the game. This time it is Watmo bruising off a couple, getting a little too close to the sideline. He's forced to redirect. He does so infield. Matai dummies, goes himself, and then to Orford. A late ball it was for Bailey, forced to go behind him. Ballon again to Kite, running back into that ditch area just behind the ruck. And a very effective set for the Sea Eagles, 49 metres and over halfway. And Orford pumps it into the corner, giving Capewell no room whatsoever.
You can just see the extra energy in that set of 6 from the Manly club. After points, they really steamrolled through South Sydney. They got to their kick, and now the momentum is all with the Manly club.
A little bit of confusion there. John Sutton trying to find a ball runner. It ended up in the hands of Luke Stewart as Asatasi goes to the line, but used the dummy-to-bow champion before the line.
I love that in a front rower that can use the football. He does it so well, Asatas. He holds it out in front. He's got the options there to pass or run it himself. He's a quick play the ball. And there's a kick there by Sando. And here comes Brett Stewart with the football.
Not an attacking kick, nor was it really a territorial kick from Chris Sando. Just popped it into a little bit of open space. Playing it on the 40 is Michael Barney to Glenn Stewart. So capable on the right, plays, as Laurie said earlier, game with plenty of finesse, but has also got some drive in those legs and can play a good power game. Here is Buckley looking for the inside man. And after a rebound, it ends up in the hands of Matt Ballin. Now to Orford. And on to Kite just to settle things down late in the set. They're after a quick play the ball here, just to give their kickers a little bit more time with the football. And Orford has all the time in the world to pump it up for Luke Capewell, who I thought may have been challenged by Brett Stewart. And it was played out and knocked on there by Colin Best. Laurie, if that had have been a try, they would have gone to the video, I think. Did Brett Stewart illegally challenge Luke Capewell?
Well, I thought it was okay. I thought it was okay. He was coming through. Well, looking at that, I would say it would have been a penalty. I think he's made contact with Capewell, although he did have eyes on the football, so who'd know what the video referee would have done. But Manly's ball, and here they come.
Here's Matt just 7 metres out from the try line, plays it back to Stewart and gives it to Glenn Hall, who bulldozes over one in McPherson, who needed a few mates to stop the Manly number 12 as Orford goes to Kite. Steps off the right boot and step past Isaac Luke. Backing his way towards the line before being slammed down. Opposing number Luke Stewart was there. Watmo to Brett Stewart. It has gone backwards to Michael Robertson. There's some spaces here in this South Sydney line. Brent Kite on the end of a quick ball now tosses to Josh Perry. You're not going to see much offload here. Before the line from Perry, he tried to muscle his way to points. Now back to Ballin. Deep was Orford. He goes across field. Has an inside runner. Goes the outside to Glenn Stewart, and that was well read by Colin Best. Last tackle again. They persist with the short side. Orford, short ball, and Jamie Lyon has collected a double. Simple case of doing your maths, counting the numbers, and it all added up for Manly.
Well, again, they were just Orford getting the football, going to the line and attracting numbers to him. And Jamie Lyon just finding himself on the outside of Chris Sando. You could see Sando pointing. Lyon was his man, but he elected to come in. When watching Sando defend, he's actually spending a bit of time on both sides of the field. And as it's worked out, the last two times Manly have been in the attacking zone, he's found himself on that left edge. And I'm sure that's something that Manly are really looking at, trying to see where he is. Once they've identified him, then they're putting on plays around him. And Jason Taylor, I think, is just trying to move him around that defensive line so he's not a target, he's not a spot. But Manly are doing an excellent job finding him wherever he goes.
Laurie, if you're moving a guy defensively left to right, maybe back to the centre at times, are you taking away natural cohesion and the natural combination of your 3-4-man quartets?
You can. But the other thing, you send out a signal to the other players that you haven't got total confidence in him being able to fulfill a role.
Jamie Lyon struck it nicely. It is Jamie Lyon 12, South Sydney 0. His 11th career double, his second against Souths.
So you can see as they come back for the kickoff, Sando on the right edge. There he is out there with Nathan Merritt. Let's see where Manly go to in this set.
Stay behind.
They've been very good with the football, haven't they, Manly? 10 from 10, their completion rate. Awkward bounces here. Brett Stewart goes back to Brent Kite, and an opportunity now for South Sydney. But gee, wouldn't the Rabbitohs just love to have a little bit of the football? As we have a look at the completion rate, just 3 from 6 South Sydney, 10 from 10. Look at this total tackles, Laurie. The Rabbitohs about to head into triple figures. And Manly have been forced to make just 33 tackles in 20 minutes of footy.
Well, they're just building from their performance last week. The confidence that they gained out of a win. Wasn't a great performance by Manly.
No.
At times they were good. But they've been prepared to roll their sleeves up and play a bit of football at the same time.
Chris Bailey with the kick over the top. Now, Bailey hasn't been spectacular since putting the jersey on after switching clubs, but a difficult position in a dominant side with a dominant halfback to fill. It's going to take some weeks for him to be comfortable.
Well, they just need to keep persevering with it. And it would have been easy, I suppose, to change it while they weren't winning. But Chris Bailey's a good footballer.
Yeah.
He'd be a great asset for this football team. Desi looks a lot more relaxed this week early on.
Doesn't look happy, but he looks a lot more relaxed. You do it once a year, Laurie, as country coach. Tough work, week to week. They age quickly.
They certainly do. But they needed this, South Sydney. Isaac Luke getting out of dummy half. Well, that's a soft penalty. There was nothing in that from Watmo. That's a crowd penalty.
Yeah.
And it brings South Sydney into the game. They need points here, South.
That is arguably the softest penalty we've seen of the year.
Ooh.
In regards to going up high. 12-0 in favour of the Eagles. Isaac Luke from dummy half to Chris Sandow. Short ball to Shannon McPherson. There's a flat one too. Luke. Isaac Luke to Luke Stewart. Backs himself to within just a metre or two of the try line. Sandow is deep and right. That's the way they come. He steps off the right and runs into Anthony Watmo. That'll shorten your career in a real hurry. Back out to John Sutton. Natural left-hander steps off his left foot there. A couple of metres wide of the goalpost. Manly's defence numbered up well on both sides as Sando, who was right, kicks left. Talanoa.
You pushed him before you went up, you.
Talanoa involved with the defenders, trying to push them out of the way before challenging for the football.
Yeah, pushes them out of the road, Michael Barney. But you can just tell in that set of 6 that it's a work in progress, the halves combination here at South. They've only played 10 times together. And on the 3rd tackle, Sando ran. 4th tackle, Sutton ran. They just doubled up. I think when one half runs the football, if there's nothing happening on the next play, you need to use other people and start to get set for the back end of the tackle count. So you plan your set. You know at the end you're going to get a good kick in.
Here is Watmo over the 40-metre line. Mid-count here for the Eagles, and Watmo's slow to get to his feet. Still down. In fact, Jeff Tuvey, the trainer, is out assisting Anthony Watmo at the moment as Jamie Lyon goes to Glenn Stewart. Back to Bailey it goes. Now to Brent Kite, who for a big front rower often finds himself in positions very similar to that. Now Orford goes to the air again, not with the depth he would have liked. Capewell flies well, so too Matai. The ball has come out in the hands of Matt Orford.
Hey. Mate, I have 6 again. So we are on tackle 1. We're having a look at the grounding here and a possible strip over the line.
We could be here for a while, Andy.
Wasn't sure if there was 1, 2 or a dozen knock-ons. I'm not sure which side, which player.
There's a few touches there. Orford's claiming he had the ball stripped out of his arms. Capewell goes up for it. Matai comes down with it. I don't think Capewell touches the football. I think McPherson touches it there into the arms of Orford. Orford forces his way over the line.
And you're allowed to strip the ball in that situation. So no try will be the ruling here. Everyone's onside.
There's not an issue there. We may see whether...
Was it a knock-on from Matai? Did it go from that Matai hand to Capewell body?
He rips it out, and then Craig Wing grounds the football. I think it's all okay up until this point here. And I think they reef it out, they ground it in goal, and this should be a line dropout.
Goal line dropout to South Sydney. Certainly didn't get anywhere near the grass, the footy. Matt Orford claiming for a strip. Saying there's 2 men in the tackle. Of course, the rules revised over the off-season.
Well, they're having a look to see whether Capewell touches the football into Matai or vice versa.
So I think that's come off.
I think it's just off Matai. I think it comes off Matai. Bounces into his arms. Off McPherson. Sando touches it. Orford comes through. That's the easiest way to do it anyhow. Just have a goal line drop out.
Yeah. Great persistence shown by Nathan Merritt and Luke Capewell here. So too Matt Orford. The persistence defensively there. Everyone else had stopped. They weren't playing the whistle.
I can't get down the other end.
It's a long wait here. Our video referee is Stephen Clark.
Okay, it's a goal line dropout, South.
Let's go, boys.
Goal line dropout South's a little issue perhaps with the communication to the big screen here. The crowd sort of sitting here, a bit like us, scratching their heads. What's happening? What is happening is a goal line dropout. Well predicted, Loss.
Oh, thanks, Andrew. Is it Andrew or Andy?
Maybe he gets square there.
Come on, mate, my friends.
Glenn Hall taking the ball up to the 30-metre line. Adam Cuthbertson on the field. Normally gets introduced about the 25th minute, which was again the case here tonight. Oh, some nice quick hands again. Brett Stewart out to Jamie Lyon. They've shown great sleight of hand and great skill over that side, and it's resulted in a couple of tries already. Glenn Stewart stepping back towards that left-hand side of the South Sydney defence. Orford is wide and deep, now goes to Matai. He puts boot to ball, looking for Robertson on the outside. And Merritt has a play at it, batting it dead in goal and opting not to turn around and challenge the Manly defenders.
No, I think that was the right idea. Merritt not taking any chances. I think he would have been wrapped up there by Watmo. He was coming through. Elected to go to this side of the field with the grubbers in behind.
20 seconds.
Looked as though they had more success on the other side with Talanoa. Talanoa tends to come right in.
Another short dropout from Isaac Luke, going just the 40 metres. Chris Sando's also got a reasonable drop kick on him. We have seen dropouts at times this year going the best part of 55, 60 metres. Matai pushing away from a couple of tackles on this left side. The power side of the Manly offence. The 15 is Jason King. 12-0 in favour of Manly. 2 tries to Jamie Lyon. Cuthbertson taken down well by Sando. Tackle number 4, Orford. Oh. Good shot from Isaac Luke. And the ball has come free.
2 bantamweights.
Couple of little fellas.
Orford taking the ball at speed to the line, and Isaac Luke, bang, drops the shoulder in. That's a good hit. Bang. We talk about collisions in the game and how we love seeing the big men in the middle. But there's nothing wrong with this either. 2 of the little fellows going at it.
He got him. Here is Champion. Anthony Watmo got to be careful. Has already been penalised once for just creeping a little high. As we head down to the sideline with Stewart.
Well, Manly are really dominating this match, 1 by their completion rate and 2 by the sheer power of their forwards. And I think Souths are paying the price for having a fairly lightweight pack, guys like Shannon McPherson, playing Craig Wing at lock. And I think it'll be a matter of time before they get David Kidwell out on the field.
Oh, Luke, late delivery before the line to Jamin Lowe. Kick from John Sutton off the left boot. Down to Brett Stewart, who was very quickly surrounded.
It's one thing they would have spoken about all week, South Sydney, the kick chase on Brett Stewart. Make these big Manly forwards come back that extra distance. We stop Stewart early, present a decent line, and make their big men charge back 80 metres.
Got back into the game and handling the pace and the responsibility very well as Brett Stewart, just his second game of the season. So many people talk about his speed and his obvious try-scoring ability, but a very good football brain as well. You can't be in the right place at the right time so many times without having just that natural ability.
Well, you look at him and he's also a good talker. When they're in the attacking zone, he's actually pointing to players who to get to, where to go, and he organises the defensive line with that same talk.
Just over halfway, and there's a little bit more of the energy South Sydney need. It was supplied by Craig Wing. John Sutton looping around and finding Talanoa, who had his arms free. He wanted to pass the ball, he wasn't sure, and eventually it came out.
Well, they haven't had much possession, but the possession they have, they need to treat it like gold. Their completion rate's at 50%, 5 out of 10, whereas Manly are 14 from 15. Look at the possession.
34 to 66% as we come up to half an hour of footy, and here goes Robertson. Be quite a battle for wing spots again when the Wolfman David Williams returns. Someone is going to have to miss out. Michael Barney, perhaps. Tony Williams applying pressure. There's Glenn Stewart. Chris Sandow now back out on this right-hand side. He may well be tested here because on the fourth tackle, South Sydney concede yet another one of these post-tackle penalties.
Yeah, they're just off the pace, South Sydney. They can't go with Manly at the moment. And Manly are looking for more points. Here they come through Jason King.
Tangle of arms and legs there meant King was slow to his feet. Orford. And Watmo drops it. Just the second incomplete set for Manly in half an hour of footy. In anyone's terms, they are good numbers.
Well, they looked tentative on that occasion, running with the football. Watmo didn't know whether he was to come to the football or not. And in the end, he turned it over quite cheaply and gives away a penalty. And this is what South Sydney needed. They needed to get back into the game. You could see who they wanted to go to, Sando, but he wasn't quite sure whether it was inside or outside shoulder. And then he's just too long around the... Well, not getting back. Not getting back and too long on the tackle player. And here they come again, the Rabbitohs.
Good shot from Cuthbertson. The line, Jamin Lowe up there. Speaking to Des Hasler before the game, wasn't happy with the 21 penalties in last week's clash at Brookvale Oval. So far, just the 4 penalties. South Sydney in arguably the best position of their night so far. Simpson on the field, back to Sando. Up over the Glenn Stewart tackle, who the lock forward had really raced up out of the line. Sando very slow to his feet to John Sutton. Back to Roy Asatasi across the ruck. Watmo and Orford there, assisted by Ballon. Simpson playing dummy half in jersey number 18. To the sky we go. And beautifully taken by Michael Barney, but again a lack of questions from the South Sydney attack.
Excellent job there, Michael Barney. He's put on a lot of pressure. Talanoa was coming flying through. Just putting the ball in the right spot. Now, where did he leave from? Yes, they're saying he left from the in goal. 20-metre restart. And now, Heath Lestrange's on the field. South Sydney, their ruck defence must be solid once again. He's a very creative player. Now through Cuthbertson. They'll try and work the ball forward.
Heath Lestrange and Matt Ballin, two very effective number 9s, but two very different footballers, and the contrast certainly works for Des Hasler and the Eagles. Here's Lestrange at dummy half to Orford. Inside to Watmo, and there's a big opening. Watmo downfield, Stewart on his inside, and Brett Stewart scores his 4th try of the season. And in doing so, extends the scoreline to 16 points to 0 in favour of the Eagles.
Well, Watmo and Brett Stewart, the combination which worked so well for them last year, worked well last week and again tonight. And Watmo, it just looked too easy for him. Just a simple little cross plate, and just finding out Asatasi just wasn't quick enough to shut the gate and close the space down. And when you get in behind the defensive line, there's not too many better players to have than Brett Stewart. His speed is fantastic. One of the quickest men in the NRL. And that's his 4th try in 2 outings.
Edging dangerously close to triple figures for his career. Great percentage as well, Brett Stewart. And Jamie Lyon with the easiest assignment of his night. %100% so far tonight, and the difference is about to be out to 3 converted tries. So often you hear those inside the game say not an accurate reflection of what's happened on the field, but 18-0 is a pretty accurate reflection as we have a look at Brett Stewart from last week.
Well, you talk about anticipation, but it's about identifying players who you know can carry the football and offload the ball. And Brett Stewart does that with his team. When Watmo carries the football, if Cuthbertson's got the football, if his brother Brett's got the football, he's just sniffing around, waiting for his opportunity.
12 tries in his last 7 games against South Sydney. Oh, good contact there. Some kilos in the South Sydney defensive line there in Pettybourne and Lowe. Jason King didn't care. Here's Shane Rodney, who had a couple of years punctuated there with injury late in his stint at Penrith.
You mentioned Eddie Pettybourne. There's not much of him, but he goes at 1,000,000 miles an hour. I know Gordon Tallis has got an enormous rap on him. And here he comes up with a shot there on Jason King once again.
Lestrange to Lyon. And again, nothing risky about what Manly Warringah are doing. A great chase. Cuthbertson just got out of the line a little bit, and Capewell was able to get around him.
Well, that's how they build their game, Manly. They don't take too many risks coming out of trouble when they're going well. But when they get inside the opposition 20, 30 metre, they ask plenty of questions and they seize the moment and the opportunities, and they make you pay for your errors.
Simpson some good metres out of dummy half.
Go that way, mate.
Awkward penalty there in favour of South Sydney. Watmo and Orford were involved in the tackle.
Yeah, not clearing the ruck, not rolling out of the way, Anthony Watmo. Giving away a penalty. South, wouldn't they dearly love to get a try before half-time? 3.5 minutes to go, 18 points behind. Let's see what they can conjure up.
Oh, too close to the sideline. No. Good strength shown by David Kidwell just to get to the ground to deny the Eagles of the reward. Dare we say Souths do need to score before half-time. Sutton taking the line on himself, including his opposite number in Chris Bailey. Back to Pettybourne. Almost taking the ball out of the airspace that surrounded Chris Sando. Here is the number 7 over the top to Champion. A speculated to Merritt. Grubbers ahead, and it came off Brett Stewart, and it was played at.
Off Manly, played at.
Yeah, you can hear Jared Maxwell there saying he's played at it.
Matt Orford doesn't agree.
Well, I don't think you would agree. Here, your team's under pressure. You don't want the opposition to score. Well, he's probably got an argument. Well, he's bracing himself there, Brett Stewart.
Well, you don't think so?
But it's a difficult one to adjudicate. Because you're probably having 50-50 each way.
You where the ball was. Yeah, it's fair.
Anthony Watmo
It's in.
refilling with a little petrol.
All the way in front.
Packing into the scrum. Left-hand side of the second row. And against the scrum feed, Merritt end up with the football. That is a huge blue for South Sydney. And compounding the issue, a knock-on from the Eagles.
Well, they're racing to the scrum.
Wow.
They're calling time off. They've packed it. Now time's been called back on because they've pulled their head out. And they've lost the advantage now, South Sydney. So the time is on. Let's see. They won't get pushed off here.
Didn't get pushed off, but it was arguably the ugliest scrum of the year so far, and that is saying something.
Play on.
Sando plays on, but he's got the penalty.
Get out of the way.
Pettybourne would have loved the opportunity of going one-on-one with the defender there. That wasn't the case. It was 4-on-1. Running into the upright.
That stopped him. That stopped him from scoring.
There was a Jamin Lowe in there. Sando, he was rushed. Gets the ball very quickly. Good handwork by the Rabbitohs. But has Bo Champion got it down, or has he been held up?
We're on tackle 3. Just simply a case of having a look here at the grounding.
They probably should have scored earlier through Jamin Lowe. I'm confident if there was no upright there, he scores. But South, they move the ball quickly to their right. And Bo Champion slicing between Watmo and Matai. Lestrange comes over. The ball's on the leg of Anthony Watmo. Lestrange's got his torso in there as well. We can't see whether the ball has found its way to the ground. This may give us a better shot at it. But he places it down on Watmo's leg. Well, I think they've held him up. I don't think, from the angles we've seen so far, I don't think the football has touched the ground.
Agreed, and 26 players out there have pretty much moved into a position to continue on playing footy.
That's a great effort from Manly.
On the line, boys. On the
Scramble defence, excellent. But they need to hang on now for another 3 tackles with 40 seconds to come.
Go.
Can they hold on? 18 points to nil. It has been a dominating first half in every aspect of the contest. From the Eagles, Sando over to Sutton. Short ball, it was good delivery to Capewell. Inside the 10-metre zone, and this is the last tackle, the last opportunity. Maybe a wasted one from John Sutton on the short side.
Yeah, needed to come up with a better play and 5th tackle. We mentioned before the fact that their 5th tackle options have been a problem for them. In particular last week, that one rolls dead, but Manly will go to the break, 18 points in front. And that's a big lead.
They have had a majority of the football. They are dominating every area of the stats page. And after 40 minutes, the difference is 3 converted tries. It is the Eagles 18, the Rabbitohs 0. They're 3-2 so far this year, South Sydney. They've won their day games. They've lost their night games. Is that trend set to continue? No breeze to speak of here at ANZ Stadium with the Sydney Royal Easter Show as a backdrop. And South Sydney defending the southern end of this Olympic venue for the second 40 minutes. Good strong defence again there from Adam Cuthbertson. This time it was on Eddie Pettybourne. He's a player that we love to see with the ball in his hand, Cuthbertson, but gee, he's got some shoulder in his defence as well. Here is Kidwell. the veteran, bullying and muscling his way over the 40-metre line. Sutton gets a bit of the left boot onto it and finds neutral ground in between Brett Stewart and Michael Barney. Great chase, South Sydney. They couldn't have kicked off the second half any better.
Well, they need to show that enthusiasm for the next 40 minutes. They were lacking a bit of energy in that first 40. And Jason Taylor, I'm sure, have given them words of encouragement and asked them to lift the intensity of this match, lift the tempo. Manly have been controlling it. Played at our speed. That'd be the key message.
Jason King, crossfield, Pettybourne was low. Jamin Lowe defensively was over the top. That's where Glenn Stewart is good in the traffic area, and he got a good ball to Jamie Lyon on his outside. Barney goes back to Chris Bailey. Used as the first option kicker on this occasion as they get it to Sando with no one in front of him. Great field position on tackle one for South Sydney.
Well, they hurt that through their defence. Their first set of defence was good. Let's see what they can come up with the football.
It's a low percentage play, just popping it out the back. It remains in South Sydney's hands, but only for a matter of time. However, the Rabbitohs get the penalty.
Ask him, he knows it.
And we've got two Rabbitohs down here, John Sutton and Colin Best.
Well, they need to score points in the second half.
The right ankle of John Sutton.
They can ill afford for Sutton to leave the field. He doesn't look great. It's a bit ginger. Jason Taylor, hands to the head. Sutton, he's a tough kid. He wants to play. It looks as though it may be his knee. Let's hope it's not too serious. He's been in excellent form.
Buckled under the pressure of an awkward tackle. Here is Pettybourne. Simpson to Lowe. The Rabbitohs starting the second half with a bit of get up and go, something they desperately lacked in the opening 40 minutes. Kidwell with a big dummy there. The defence was looking at the run around with Craig Wing. That wasn't the case as Jamin Lowe is on the end of a big shoulder. Slow to his feet now to Sando. Back in towards the ruck to Capewell. Very little room through the middle of the Manly line at this stage. Simpson back to Sando. Over the top he goes, looking for Nathan Merritt. And it was beautifully taken by Michael Robertson. But the big news is right in front of you, John Sutton, it appears, off the field and headed for the dressing rooms.
Yeah, let's hope it's not too serious for Johnny Sutton. That's the sixth interchange for South Sydney. David Fa'alongo's come onto the field. Takes away a strike weapon for South Sydney. You would think that Craig Wing would be the automatic replacement as a 5'8".
Shane Rodney through the middle. Without taking anything away from John Sutton, does the fact that there is now just two ball players in Sando and also Wing means there's 5 running forwards and maybe a little bit more go forward in that centre third.
Well, that's something that was lacking in that first 40 minutes. And when you're not controlling the ball, and if you've got little blokes on the field, you can be exposed. But if you've got good running forwards on, you're controlling the football, the little players come into their own. You talk about the middle third, and that's an area where you can get opposition teams. You control the football, and you apply some pressure. Lovely ball there by Jamie Lyon onto Chris Bailey. Found himself into some space.
He had a good look at Brett Stewart off his right-hand side. Stewart just a little late arriving on the scene. In fact, limping in back play just a little as Brett Stewart here. Orford across field to Watmo. We speak of the pet plays. That is certainly one of them for Manly. The half-back second row combination. And Orford is on the left again. That's the way Lestrange goes. In behind the ruck from Orford. But a kick that didn't ask too many questions of the South's defence. Appears we've got another injury because Anthony Watmo is now struggling on the far side of the footy field.
He's been down a couple of times tonight, Watmo. He's got tremendous leg speed, Anthony Watmo. He reminds me of a 7 or a 6 in his anticipation of the ruck. He identifies the ruck so well. And if there's a quick play the ball, he comes onto it so fast. And he gets between defenders. That's something that 7 and 6s work a long time on trying to develop.
Oh, an easy take there for Brett Stewart, 15 metres out from his own line. Sando got a little bit of him, but not all of him. He comes back for some more.
I'll have you.
Are we going to see
Yes,
someone caution for the use of knees here? Jamie Simpson it is.
Okay, a little concerned the way you're coming in with the knees. On the play man on the ground. Might have been. Put on a report.
It is. I didn't see it. Jamie Simpson. Well, I think that looks a lot worse because he's there. He's sort of bracing himself. Yeah, I don't think there's anything in that.
No, I agree. Bracing himself for the impact. Probably looked a little worse as the hips went forward on collision, but part of preparing yourself when you're going to run into 90-odd kilos. Here is Cuthbertson, who's well above the 90-kilo mark. 6.5 minutes into the second half, and it's been improved South Sydney in that time. Can they hold out the Eagles because Robertson's looking for one?
Well, they're keen to get a try in behind Nathan Merritt with the kicking game. That's the second tackle. That's something that they would have planned for, given that they've kicked it so early in the tackle count. And Merritt just doing his job, watching it roll over the sideline.
Manly protesting there to the far side touchy, and also to our controlling ref in Jared Maxwell that they thought Nathan Merritt touched the football. And plea all you want, it didn't work. Souths again starting their set in their own backfield. It makes the meters so much tougher. Here is Wing. Simpson into dummy half. Uses Asatasi as a block runner, nothing more. Sando to dummy half. Ball wide and got it early out to Roy Asatasi.
You come up with the leg.
On tackle number 4, they needed that penalty too.
Yeah, they need to start some decent sets in the opposition half, South Sydney. And this gives them a great opportunity, 30 metres out.
6-3, the penalty count now in favour of South Sydney. They haven't been able to convert that to points. Tackled on the 20-metre line, centre field without John Sutton. There's Kidwell using the ball nicely. Champion dummies goes to the line. Tackled by Rodney and Cuthbertson, two of the interchange players combining. Sandow to wing at 5/8. Dummies to Pettybourne on his outside. Still going. Craig Wing! What a try! That is sheer strength and absolute persistence.
When you look down and out, you look for your most dangerous attacking player to go looking for the football. And on this occasion, it's Craig Wing. A little bit of deception there. I think Bailey just makes a poor read on Pettybourne, and Wing just pushes away from the tackles of Glenn Stewart, Lyon and Bailey. I think this will be all right.
Manly claimed obstruction straight away.
I think this will be okay.
The block runner was actually behind the ball carrier, and as a result, try to Craig Wing. Try to South Sydney. It has taken almost 50 minutes.
Well, they needed something. They needed something to spark their attack, and it's Craig Wing who provides it. Just strength and leg speed, pushes his way through. And is this the revival that South Sydney fans are hoping for? Really, there wasn't much on. It was just Pettybourne running an option, someone cut under, and Craig Wing. He scores the first 4-pointer for South Sydney. And are they back in the game?
Chris Sandow lining this one up just over 20 metres back, 10 metres in from touch. He's on the preferred side for a right foot kicker, and because Manly have converted their tries, it's a simple case of these goals being equally as important as the tries. Not the case. 18 points to 4, 14 the difference as we go sideline with Stewart.
Well, as you can see, it's not looking great for John Sutton. He went over in that tackle. They're saying it's cork. I think they're doing a bit of smoke screen. You see it looking more like a medial ligament injury. The medical staff are very concerned. He's doing some weaving and running down the sideline here. Twists over in the tackle. It doesn't look great, and we'll be waiting to see if he can get back on the field.
It certainly didn't look good for John Sutton there. The knee was buckled. The ankle was buckled over as well. Co-commentator here knows a little bit about medial ligaments.
Well, medial ligaments, they can range from anywhere from a complete tear to just a minor grading. And even a minor one can put you out of action for a week. Let's hope it's not too serious. If that's the case, they're still working on him. And there's a drop ball. Drop ball from Asatasi. And South Sydney, after scoring points, have come up with the error.
Lestrange to Cuthbertson on to Glenn Stewart. Quick shifts looking to catch South Sydney out. The idea was a good one. It ended up with Bailey. Now the inside runner is Glenn Stewart. Back to Brett Stewart. Afforded a little room there. They are inside the go zone. Lestrange to Warford, who was deep and left. What mate? Bumps off Sandow, and they keep the ball going as a result. A good smothering tackle. Initially, it was a good vertical capture there from Nathan Merritt, and he slowed Steve Maddai right down, allowing the defensive line a valuable second or second and a half to reload and reset. Orford taking it to the line, going to Chris Bailey, pops it up to Brett Stewart, and the Snake collects a double.
Next will be 5. Check for an obstruction.
Obstruction. I didn't think I saw one then. I thought it was okay.
Yeah,
Brett Stewart,
I agree.
What a comeback from Brett Stewart. There you see, just a good ball. A good ball there by Chris Bailey going to the ground.
I think they're claiming Jamie Lyon was the obstruction runner out here in jersey number 3. So he's a lot wider. And for Tuli Talanoa, for some reason, has grabbed a hold of Jamie Lyon after he got to the line.
No, that's a poor read by Talanoa then, because Lyon was in front. He'd actually gone through 5 tries in 2 games.
And this game's not over. So South Sydney, they collected their first try just 3 minutes ago, then dropped the ball mid-count.
Well, how often,
through their skipper, Roy Asatasi.
How often do you see it, and how often do we mention it, that after you score points, you just need to get to the kick or get the ball down the other end of the field? You can't afford to be coming up with an error. You place your team under so much pressure.
Is that the set of 6 you want to be conservative with? You just want to get to the end. You almost want to be boring.
Yeah, and that's a position you could take, but I think it's just about not putting anyone under pressure, making sure you've got control of the football, and just laying a good platform, because the energy's with you after you have points. Now you've just rocked back into your seat a little bit more.
Hasn't he been good with the boot tonight, Jamie Lyon? 4 from 4. They only kicked the 2 goals before tonight so far this season. Normally it's Matt Orford doing the kicking.
Well, that's the first try
Stay behind.
in the second half in the past 3 weeks against South Sydney. Defence has been great in the second half. Performances over the last couple of weeks against the Bulldogs and the Warriors.
Hey, Colin.
Cuthbertson over the 10-metre line. Now to Shane Rodney. Really fits the Manly mould, does Rodney. With no Luke Williamson, of course, no Stephen Menzies as well. He's that versatile back row that, if called upon, can get through whatever minutes you require. Different style of footballer as this man in the headgear. Another same way played for the Eagles, and Orford puts it onto the right boot. Didn't have a lot of depth about it, that kick, and it was easily taken by Nathan Merritt.
You just see Manly getting back into their old groove. They're still far from their best, but just little things that they're starting to get right. You know, after points, tackle forward, get to your kick, chase it downfield. The kick went to the winger, but they knew it was coming. They knew it was required.
John Sutton, is he ready to get back into action? Yes, he is, and South Sydney desperately need him. And he limps onto the field as Luke Catewell, after Fatuli Talanoa played the ball, loses control.
See, unforced errors, Andy, they're the ones that put your team under pressure.
It was a knock-on from both of them, actually. The bloke playing the ball and the guy dummy half.
Well, you know, as a coach, you can put up with the forced errors because opposition teams can do that to you. They can have good contact in at the line. But when you're going to be the third play the ball,
at least
they've lost the football tonight.
Out.
Open side is Bailey. Good signs for you Eagles fans in the fact that they haven't been outright brilliant in what they've done here tonight, but they hold a 20-point lead over a side coming fourth, and they have, as Laurie said earlier, been quite clinical in their approach and execution. Tackle number 3, mid-count in South Sydney territory. Despite the fact that Manly Warringah have had a high majority of the football, the game has been played evenly in both halves. Going wide to Lyon. Barney had to stop and prop to collect the football. Couldn't get around Colin Best as he headed back towards the centre field. Orford short side. Bailey to Stewart. Back into Jamie Lyon. On to Chris Bailey. Taken by Luke Catewell, who gets the way downfield. Here comes Stewart and high. Big contact between the two number ones. Petty ball.
Well, he scored 2 tries and saved another one, Brett Stewart.
Yeah.
What about the chase?
How quick is he? This is Nathan Merritt, who, along with Fatuli Talanoa, scored 9 tries so far this year. The two wingers have been kept dangerously quiet tonight. What a chase by Brett Stewart that was, because he was on the ground and involved in the previous play. Here is Craig Wing on tackle number 4 for South Sydney. Still 23 minutes to go. Still a lot of time, a lot of points available. On the inside, Defalco, who is absolutely butchered a try.
They set it up nicely. They ran the football. It was a lovely ball from Sutton, and they'd found themselves in some space. Foulongo, just the last pass going astray.
Did he have to throw the pass? I thought he was almost over the
Well,
line.
he probably could have scored. He probably could have scored, but he elected to go with the pass. But you talk about Brett Stewart and his speed. So you make half breaks. With Brett Stewart's speed, you score. And if the opposition make breaks, you stop them because of speed.
Luke Catewell did not have to move off the blade of grass he was standing on. Matt Orford put it right onto his chest. As a result, some easy meters for South Sydney. Isaac Luke coming near side, picking up with big Roy Asatasi. It's on the penalty line there. Now Luke back to Wing, who's taking a little bit of time at first receiver. Productive for South Sydney there with some variation, because now it is Sando at first receiver. Sutton back to Wing. That was well read by Brent Kite and Shane Rodney too, because there was an overlap on the outside. Sutton end over end to Brett Stewart, an easy one. You can hear the crowd response to Brett Stewart. It's something he is probably going to have to get used to for some time, right or wrong. Matt Ballin ready to take his place in the game, and I wouldn't think Matt would get any extra time on the sideline tonight with 21 minutes remaining. He'll be going on to complete. Horrible play the ball. This is Glenn Stewart. Centre field now. Last tackle, Orford to the air. Directed to Talanoa and also Catewell. And Catewell was brilliant there. Now he heads off centre field again.
He's been good, hasn't he, Catewell, in the second half? They've tried to put the bombs up to him. He's come down with them. And on most occasions, he's gained some excellent metres for the South Sydney team.
Good news for Souths too, considering we got the news during the week that Reece Wesser will probably be missing until about round 16 with a knee injury after undergoing an arthroscope this week. This is good from the Bunnies. Merritt. Tackle 25 metres out from the try line. It is tackle number 4. They're going to shift wide. That's exactly what they do through Sando. Almost snuck under the tackle of big Josh Perry there. Last play, Sutton grubbers it along the ground. And really well read there by Glenn Stewart. Craig Wynn waiting for him to get to his feet to try and lift or toss him back into the in-goal area. That wasn't going to be the case.
A game of cat and mouse.
Yeah.
Wing knew that Stewart had to get to his feet, otherwise he would have been penalised. Have to say, Desi's looking relaxed.
Even with that lunatic in front of him. Rodney plays the ball back to Matai. Tackle from Isaac Luke right around the substantial hips of Steve Matai. It's the fireworks from the Royal Easter Show. The display starts in the south-eastern corner of ANZ Stadium. Tulu Talanoa more interested in the football and gets it into Manly territory. This is Colin Best. Hasn't he been quiet tonight, Colin? Just his 4th touch or 4th run with the footy.
Probably been quiet all season for the Rabbitohs.
Comparative to last year.
I think last year one of the big focuses for the Raiders were to give Colin Best early ball. In particular coming out of their own red zone. South Sydney, they've spread it a lot, but Colin Best, given early ball, he's a hard runner and a hard man to contain.
Sando tackled on the last. Sutton moves to dummy half. That's taken 2 of your kickers out of the game. Isaac Luke is asked to kick the football, and he does with 1 too many rolls on it. So that's poor game management from the Bunnies. Your first choice kicker was playing the ball. Your second choice kicker was a dummy half.
Well, that's what I was talking about earlier, your combinations. If you know that your first choice kicker is being tackled with the football, you should be pushing someone else in there to pass it to you, because you're being given that responsibility. If he's out of play, that's my role, that's my responsibility. And that's how you need to think as a combination, as a halves combination.
Souths have been forced to make about 75 more tackles than Manly tonight. And that is a direct result of their poor ball security. Oh, Glenn Stewart, he looked up and had Michael Barney down that right flank. Decided against it. Here is Watmo to Brett Stewart. Dummies on the inside to Matai. Decides to challenge Sando one-on-one, but Bo Champion comes in to offer an assist. Up we go from Orford. Nicely taken by Merritt. And over the top, Glenn Hall, just to make sure he was tackled.
I think Fa'alongo was taken out too by his own player. He's to his feet now. Good capable. dislocated finger. Craig Wing.
I think all fingers are meant to be pointing north-south, and I think he's got one east-west at the moment. Having a few issues there too.
It's a bad feeling too when you look down and your fingers
Swap over, mate. I feel like I've had them in
pointing to the west.
Right.
He's been good tonight, capable at the back of the field.
Yeah, 18 runs, just the 3 tackles required, and he's been good in the air. And a lot of pressure on him as a result of frontline misses. The missed tackle count already up to 31 for South Sydney.
Yeah, again, another easy turnover.
Yeah.
And that's been their problem, obviously. They've turned over too much possession and made far too many tackles for Jason Taylor's liking. And they're hanging in, but it's still a learning process for them as Orford off the back. And the scrum gives it to Michael Barney.
Surrender, boys.
Their effort's there, but they just need to continue to work hard on their skill level and their combinations.
Here is Kite. Has got that ability to be able to keep making metres backing into the line and also get the right arm ready for a potential offload as Orford gets wrapped up, spinned and then dropped. It was Luke Stewart, the principal tackler there. Now Ballon to Brett Stewart at first receiver. Chris Bailey wide to Jamie Lyon, then to Steve Maddai. The centres hooking up together. You don't see it often in the modern day, and it almost led to a try to Maddai. Stewart. Kite. Orford almost at third receiver there. Glenn Stewart. He gets secured very strongly, as a matter of fact, from Talanoa, who raced in. Brett Stewart, infield kick. Well read at the back by Craig Wing, who was almost playing a subtle sweeping role there.
Yeah, it was good work there by Craig Wing. He knew that the fullback was caught out. It was his job to tuck in behind and receive that kick. And South Sydney looked to use the ball out wide. Again, they've come up with another error. We talk about football suicide. You can't do that. And Brett Stewart got a problem.
Yeah, he's out on this right wing, and as a result, Michael Barney has gone to fullback. And there is Barney injecting himself into the offence at the moment, but keep an eye on Brett Stewart, just carrying a bit of a limp there.
You don't take any chances with him.
14 minutes to go straight off.
Yep.
Crossfield to Orford. Bailey bats it on. Now that went forward from Brett Stewart. And fair to say there's probably some similarities from Manly last week at Brookvale against the Tigers to Manly here tonight. They're dominating on the scoreboard. They have been good at times. They have got a lot to work on.
They've certainly got a lot to work on, but it's about, you know, establishing good football over a longer period of time. And I think they've done that tonight more so than they did last week. But they need to continue to work hard on their game, and it's very important to finish strongly in this next 14 minutes, because Manly have got a tough road coming up. You've got the Cowboys at Dairy Farmers next week, followed by the Melbourne Storm, followed by the Broncos. So it's a tough 3-week period coming up for the Manly club. But as long as they consistently improve there. Another turn up.
And again, it's Dave Farlogo.
Hey, Bo, you got to do better in playing the ball, mate.
The story of the night, isn't it? It's Groundhog Day.
Yeah, and for poor Dave, it has been a nightmare night. Let's go down to the sideline with Stewart.
It is a nightmare night for the Rabbitohs. They've just made too many errors. And when sides make errors, it's more so how they react. And you give Manly too much field position, too much of the football, it's going to hurt you. I do think South Sydney, after a very physical Monday night game against the Bulldogs, it's starting to wear on them. And these errors are just becoming too much for them. And it wouldn't surprise me if Manly get more points in this back end of the half.
We hear often about the Monday night hoodoo. I just wonder how much of that is psychological as opposed to physical, because it's no different from a Sunday, Friday turnaround. And we see that regularly, and it never gets pinpoint. As the Eagles get 6 again. Fireworks over the Royal Easter Show, making more noise than the crowd here at ANZ Stadium as Josh Perry plays the ball. Looking centre field and prepared to push it just beyond the fringe out to the perimeter. And they did look that way through Bailey. Now Orford. Lyon back to Barney. Not a lot of fluency with what the Eagles are doing at the moment. And Barney was through and dropped the footy.
Bit of a drop-a-thon this second half. Barney's claiming it was ripped out. I think he's a good player, Michael Barney. Got good speed. I think the arm was on the football, but I don't think he ripped it out. I think he just loses control. He's got plenty of speed, Barney.
Yeah. And back to the 20 metres, South Sydney will go with just on 11 minutes remaining in this one. Isaac Luke giving the ball to David Farlogo. South fans be entitled to let out a cheer if this successfully gets through his feet, which it does. Don't forget to join us for NRL Sunday tomorrow, a cracking double-header. We start with the Warriors and the Roosters midday on Fox Sports 2, and then from the City of Churches, Hindmarsh Stadium. Over there in Adelaide, the Cronulla Sharks and North Queensland Cowboys.
No. Another one. Jason Taylor would be pulling his hair out. What's left of it?
He'll end up looking like co-coach Gordon Tallis.
Well, you can say that. I'll leave Gordy out of it. The big Gra, he'd be disappointed with the efforts tonight. The ball control. It's just been ordinary.
Ordinary is a nice way of putting it with 10 minutes remaining. Completion rate for South started off as poor and hasn't improved a great deal at all. And to be honest, if anything, Manly have sort of dropped a level or two back to South Sydney.
I suppose it does put it into perspective, though, for South Sydney. They've had a couple of losses now, and everyone was optimistic and excited about the Bunnies and being on top of the table, and we're going to win the comp and going to make the top four. It just takes a little bit of heat off them now, brings them back to reality as such. They know they have to continually work hard now.
It's a big psychological challenge from, I guess, this point in, when you do come back to reality. You handle it one or two ways. I guess South Sydney fans will be hoping Jason Taylor and his squad can handle it positively and move forward. Going good from Capewell, the Charleville Junior. There in central Queensland. It's almost as though poor Bunnies have got the slow-mo button on them tonight.
Yeah, it's like they're shut up shop. But they can't afford to shut up shop when you're chasing plenty of points.
No.
They need to be coming up with a little bit better than what they're showing us at the moment. Because really, you're not putting any pressure on the Manly line at all. Yes, you're getting through a set, and that is what they may be thinking. We've turned the ball over too many times. We just need a completion. But then you get to the fifth tackle and you kick it out on the full. Whoa.
I know in 2009 the game is more than just about what happens on the footy field, and we can debate it all day about coming out here to ANZ Stadium, but I couldn't help but think if we were playing this at a more central venue, South Sydney 3-2, Manly fans easy access to, say, the Sydney Footy Stadium, I think we'd be playing in front of a vastly bigger crowd, and as a result, motivation for South Sydney may well be lifted a peg or two, because they have lacked the motivation tonight, it appears anyway.
Well, it's just looked flat, haven't they? They've looked flat from the get-go. They've made errors. They're 20 points behind here and really haven't challenged Manly at all.
Here is Jason King. Tackled centre field on tackle number 4. Options either way. They come near side. Bailey and Glenn Stewart, who was wrapped up really well, should I say, by Colin Best there. Swung around in the tackle. Chris Bailey pumps it through. There were 3 Eagles and 1 Rabbit. But Fatuli Talanoa had enough speed and presence of mind to pat the ball dead in goal.
I like that from Chris Bailey.
Takes a lot of pressure off Matt Orford too, doesn't it? Playing the other side of the ruck.
It does. Little kick in the in goal. Players coming through. Everything's not reliant on Matt Orford.
Stay behind.
And that's a work in progress still, the halves for the Manly, but
yeah.
I think once they get going, it'll be a good combination. Because I feel Lyon is a better 7 than 6, and Jamie Lyon towards the back end of the year was excellent as 5'8". But I still think he's a better centre than 5'8".
Do you believe coming into this clash, Souths had the least number of errors in the NRL? They've made up for it tonight.
Like to see where they are at the end of the game.
Averages has changed. 6 minutes remain, 24 points to 4. And again, the footy has been played at South Sydney's end of the park. Manly have enjoyed a great deal of possession in this contest from the opening 10 or 15 minutes, and that hasn't altered as Matt High tries to add his name to the score sheet. Bailey wide to Stewart. Stewart grubbers through. Talanoa loses his feet. And it was Craig Wing coming from the inside to support.
He's done that a couple of times tonight, Craig Wing. Cleaned up the ball on the ground. This time coming across, diving on it. Glenn Stewart just makes sure he grounds the football. Started a little mini revival for South Sydney, scoring the first 4-pointer of the second half, but then they turned it over in the next set, and really from that moment it never looked like being in the game.
Souths with 4 players recording 30 or more tackles. Pettybourne and King go chest to chest. Eddie bounces back into the defensive line. Here's Glenn Hall, who at one stage played for South Sydney, but is a completely different footballer in Manly colours. A crossfield Ballon links with Stewart running on the inside. It was Glenn Stewart. Here's Bailey. A couple of options on the inside, Chris Bailey then, but showing a sign of confidence and taking the ball to the line. Kind at first receiver now to Warford, playing a little bit wider in this second half. Now to Nathan Merritt. Where's Brett Stewart? Too far away, and Nathan Merritt is just going to have enough to get there. Merritt with his right knee strap. Brett Stewart's been limping for the last half hour. Neither guy really wanted a foot race. South Sydney have done it long range against the run of play.
Yeah, 5th try for the season for Nathan Merritt. And Beau Champion just got himself up in between the attackers and came up with the football. And then he knew he needed to get it to his faster man in Nathan Merritt. Orford just drifting across the field. You could just see Beau Champion position himself in between the attacking players. And then he gave the ball on to Merritt. Stewart coming from the other side of the field. He's a try sneak, Merritt. He's a much improved player. South closed the gap, albeit a little bit.
5 games, 5 tries for Nathan Merritt. Fatuli Talanoa, 6 games, 5 tries. But South Sydney have been unable to get the ball to their perimeters tonight, to their try scorers.
Oh, he's missed that.
Oh, Isaac Luke, a nasty one. Tonight, it doesn't matter. 24 points to 8 in favour of Manly. 4 tries to 2. This is how it happened for the Rabbitohs.
Beau Champion. Haven't had that many opportunities, the outside men. There's been no fast play the balls to work off. You know, when they have elected to go wide, Manly have shut them down reasonably well. And at times they just haven't had a chance to see the football because of so many turnovers.
Nathan Merritt stretching out still after a 90-metre try. Late in the game. Takes a little bit out of you.
To look up and see someone chasing, you'd be filthy. Just
Someone
leave
like
me
Brett
alone.
Stewart, yeah. Okay, this is Luke Stewart. Not a lot to celebrate for Luke tonight in game 150 for the club. And I guess it's only a matter of minutes now before both coaches and both supporter bases start looking towards next week. And for South Sydney, they are back here on Friday night to face the Cronulla Sharks. And for the Manly Warringah Seagulls, a trip to North Queensland on Super Saturday to face the Cowboys at Dairy Farmers Stadium. Here's for Tuli Talanoa. So Nathan Merritt's got one. I've got to keep pace here. I'd love a try as well. Isaac Luke, with a smile on his face, is shouldered to the ground under the weight of 3. Sando pumps it over the top. He was looking for Craig Wing, but Jamie Lyon knew it was on. Sando again with that shoulder charge.
He mixes it, Sando. He's not afraid to go and drop his shoulder in. Now, people want to question mark, his defence, and yes, he can be a bit lost and doesn't have the great technique at times, but you couldn't say he's not courageous when he goes to put his body on the line.
Final couple of seconds in what has been a disappointing and relatively slow second half, being completely honest. And as the full-time siren sounds, Manly post their second victory of 2009 because they have defeated the South Sydney Rabbitohs 24 points to 8.